Hey everybody, I'm here with my Mr. Restore team. We're going to show you a little bit about safety on frying a turkey, frying a bird, because, you know, this week's Thanksgiving. So we want to make sure we can show you a few tips, because regardless of the fact that we love helping and supporting our community and restoring your properties, we want to try to make sure that you can be as preemptive as possible and prevent damage if we can do that. So right now we're showing you a little bit of the tips. So Jake has the turkey ready in the fryer. He's filling up the turkey pot, the fryer pot, with water, so that when we actually mark that water line, we'll be able to know, okay, we're going to fill it with water to this level. We'll mark it with a water line. That makes it ensures our turkey is going to be completely covered and no more oil than that. What happens is that people get too much oil at times. It overflows. The oil catches on fire, hitting the flame. We want to avoid that. So right now we'll come in. We'll actually film this piece. Fill this piece with water to overfill the turkey, and then we'll take it out. We'll mark the line. We'll dry it. We'll fill it with oil, and we'll start from there. Okay, so here we've got the pot with water in it. Notice that the turkey is completely submerged in the water. We are slightly over the max fill line, but as Jake lifts the bird up out of the water, you know it's going to drop below the max fill line. So you can see here that we're below that. So we're actually going to mark that as a mark. We're about an inch below the max fill line. That's what we're going to fill with oil. We're currently going to dry this pot out, get it nice and dry, get it ready to go to put oil in it, and see where that gets us. Everybody, so we've got the burner set up out here ready to go. And one of the things that I want to kind of just note for you is that we need to make sure that we're checking all our connections, make sure good and tight. I've tightened all these up this morning and made sure everything is assembled. In this particular case, this one has a couple of safety features. There's a regulator here to control the amount of flame, and then there's a safety switch to make sure that we can turn the gas on so that there's a thermocouple that if it loses flame, it shuts the gas off. That's a good feature for us. So in this case, we're going to get this going, get the gas turned on, hear a little bit of the hiss of the gas. And now we're lit. Got to hold the button down for a little bit so that it continues to heat up this thermocouple so that the flame will stay on. Now we should be good. We can crank this thing up as much as we want. You might even be able to hear it on the video, I don't know. We're going to dial it back down a little bit so that it can heat itself up. That's the first step in lighting the flame and having it ready to go. Okay, so we've got our pot marked where we did the water trick inside to determine how much oil we actually needed in it. And so now we're just going to fill this thing with oil to our mark. We know in this case it's about an inch below the max fill line, and we do have it marked inside here as well. Obviously, we're not going to do this on the flame with anything going at the time. We're going to do this completely separately because this oil is actually what ignites. So when you see these explosions and things go bad on these fires and turkey fries, it's a result of the oil getting onto the flame. So we want to make sure we avoid that as much as possible. Okay, so right now we have our oil heating up. We've got the burner going, we've got the lid on so it heats a little faster, a little thermostat to kind of monitor it. And right now we're just raising the oil temperature. So right now everything's good and safe and perfect. And we'll see what happens as we kind of move through this process. But notice, we have big gloves, we have turnout gear, we have things to kind of protect us as we do this, because we know when we put this frozen turkey in this fryer, things are going to go bad. So we've got a massive long pole, drop the turkey in, you'll see all that in a little bit. But we're trying to do things as safely as possible. Then we'll show you also how to do one the right way, safe way, and make sure you're doing things the way they need to be done. We are going to drop a frozen one in there with a little too much oil in a little bit and see what the result is. Okay, so we've got the flame off. We know the oil is where we want it to be. We're gonna drop this in, there's no flame. So even if this were to bubble up a little bit, it wouldn't be really detrimental to us because it's just gonna splatter. We might get a little burn from the splatter, but we're not gonna ignite anything. That was a dried turkey. That is, you know, really didn't even have any seasoning on that one, but there's nothing wet about that to cause it to splatter or spurt. So now if you take a look, it's bubbling a little bit, but we'll kick the flame back on and get it up to temperature where we want it to be. So we actually turned the flame off and dropped the first round in, so we had nothing to overflow. It's bubbling up really hot right now. You can come see what's going on with the grease. So the grease is starting to bubble up pretty good, but the flame is all off, so it's pretty safe that way. We're gonna light the flame back up and we're gonna be good to go. Okay, so we know we've got the temperature of the bird close to where we want it, and so we're getting ready to take everything out. So in order to avoid the fire, the flame, the flash, we don't want to drag an oily bird out of the fire and drag it back across something and take a chance of dripping into the flame. So safe way to do it is just shut the flame off. So we're gonna turn the flame off before we take the bird out. Now if the flame's off, no fire. Okay, so this is a frozen turkey. This is what happens a lot of times when people try to get this thing done. As they put in a turkey that's not completely thawed or frozen into hot grease, it splatters over, hits the flames, they have problems. We've got fire extinguishers ready. I'm doing it from a distance with some gear on, so let's see what happens. No flame. Well, so fortunately, we didn't have any problem because our oil wasn't over the top and it didn't bubble up real fast and cause a problem. That's a good thing. But be careful because there are videos everywhere. I'll tag one into ours that show how this can flame up and become really dangerous. So, all it has to happen is if there's a little bit of grease that hits the flame, then you get that fire. And you get that rollout. So if you had your grease go over the top of that thing, you would have a massive fire. So just remember and be careful.